because I feel like you can get addicted to it.
All right, so you don't have a problem getting other people addicted to it. You just don't want it because you know it's a negative, but you don't have any problem selling fentanyl to other people, right? Or cocaine or whatever else is in it. I'm sure that you verify whenever you got cocaine, were given cocaine from suppliers, that there was nothing other than cocaine in it, right?
Yes.
No. How would you verify that? You have some lab in your basement that you were testing this stuff?
No.
You're peddling whatever you're peddling, you have no idea what it is, and some of it's fentanyl.
All right.
We are here on the matter of the state of Ohio versus Daniel Barber. We are set today for a sentencing hearing. We were previously here on May 8th when the defendant pled guilty to 3 counts of trafficking and cocaine.
I'll be brief. We're here this morning hat in hand. I know my client has a history, and more specifically, he's got a history with this particular court. Previously, he was granted community control, although, yes, he did complete that successfully. Obviously, he's gotten himself into more trouble and is in front of Your Honor again. Your Honor, my client, I don't think is an evil person. Obviously, he makes a lot of very poor choices, though. Was doing what he thought he needed to do to get by. Obviously, that's wrong. And I've talked to him, and he's told me that you know, I mean, I think he's in his mid-30s now, and he's like, look, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to sit in jail. I don't want to, you know, have to go to court. He has a family. He has a state. If the court were to consider a community-controlled sanction, he does have a stable residence here in Lake County. He has a job lined up. He said it was a union job. My apologies to the court. I don't recall which one, but he has a job lined up.
Barber, what do you want to tell me before I impose sentence?
First of all, I want to apologize to the court. I want to apologize to you too, O'Donnell, by even coming back here for a sentencing again.
All right, now let's rewind to how this whole disaster started. Defense walks in basically saying, please give him one more chance. Bro's talking about jobs, family, stability, the full redemption package. Then the defendant stands up with an apology, and before he can even build momentum, the judge cuts straight through it. How are you taking responsibility? OHHH, look at the judge leaning forward already. That face says he is not buying the speech. And the explanation that's coming next? It opens a whole new can of problems.
I take full responsibility in my actions. I know what I...
How do you... Tell me how you take responsibility for your actions.
I know what I was doing was wrong.
Then why'd you do it?
That's what I was about to get to. I want to start by saying I started off with a job. I had a job. I had a good job. I paid off all my fines. I got my license like you asked me to. I paid like $3,000 in fines to get my license. I got a car. I was taking care of my twins. I was taking care of my daughter. I was taking care of my household for real. I slipped and fell at work, and right before they were supposed to be compensating me at work for missing work a lot by having to go to the doctor, that I got laid off. When I got laid off, it started getting a little hard for me. I started falling back in debt. I started taking out loans, all type of stuff. Like, I just kept getting more and more in debt. I ended up losing my car by getting presents and stuff for Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that. Come up with a way to keep my lights on, heat for my girl put me out. All type of stuff was just going on. So that's why I take full responsibility in what I did, because I knew it was wrong, but I should have called my old probation officer, which she told me to call her if I ever got into any.
Who was that?
I think her name was Haley. I forgot the first one I had, but Haley was my second one. And she told me to call her if I ever got into any trouble or I needed some help with anything, and I forgot all about that, for real. You give me one more chance on some supervision, because that's what really keeps me out of trouble, like me being supervised.
So now we get the backstory. He talks about losing his job, bills piling up, Christmas gifts, debt, family pressure. I mean, you almost start feeling for him until you remember why he's standing there. Then he asks for another chance on supervision, like that's the magic fix. The judge barely moves, just listening with that calm expression that somehow feels more intimidating. Wait, because the next question completely changes the mood in the courtroom.
I hear you.
You're 34 years old.
Yeah, I know.
Can't supervise you forever.
Right.
I mean, that's been tried, right? Over and over and over again since '09.
Yeah.
How long have you been dealing drugs?
10 years.
Why were you dealing drugs if you were working as a machinist?
No, you're talking about how long this time?
Well, yeah. How long this time?
Probably like for the last year.
Okay. So you got cocaine, you got fentanyl, what else you got?
That's all.
That's all. Where were you getting it?
Off the street.
Which street? Rennick?
No,
Hunter? East Hunter?
probably Cleveland.
Why are you dealing drugs if you have the ability to earn $20 an hour?
Well, it was it was hard for me to find another job too, because I filled out a lot of applications, but all the calls came back. It was from Solon and Lakewood and places that was far in the wintertime. Basically, it was like, and then I lost my car, so it was hard for me to get out to Solon and stuff like that. And then one of the jobs I went to in like Wickliffe, around my area.
God, I had a guy named Jared Bell who was on probation a few years back. Lived in Cleveland, had custody of his minor child, took buses out to Solon where he worked every day. Pain in the ass, but he did it. Got off of probation, successfully completed it.
Well, I feel like I can do that.
Well,
I feel like I can
you
try
should
to
have
do
done
it.
that instead of dealing drugs.
Right.
Because who you selling to?
You're right.
I mean, who are you selling to?
Here comes the interrogation. The judge casually asks how long he's been dealing drugs, and Bro answers 10 years like he's reading today's weather forecast. Wait, what? Then he admits he could earn $20 an hour working, but still chose dealing. Look at the judge's face, eyebrows barely lifting, but you can practically hear him thinking seriously. Then he tells a story about another guy who actually took the bus to work every day. And that's only setting up an even tougher round of questions.
Some guy named Mike Thompson.
Well, I know on this occasion, but you were selling to a bunch of people, right?
No, that was it.
That was it? You only sold to him?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only guy you sold to. How long have you been selling to him?
10 years. I knew him for like 10 years.
He's the only guy you sold to.
No, not per se.
Well, what does that mean? Now, I asked you who you were selling to, and you said the only guy you sold to was this Thompson guy.
I don't know everybody. I don't know names.
Okay, how many guys you been selling to? How many people you been selling to?
Recently,
In the last 2 years.
probably like 3 or 4.
How much money you make off of that in the last 2 years?
Not much.
Not much, but you were doing it to make money. So what else were you doing for money when you got fired from the machine job?
I was gambling. I was gambling on sports bets, which I was losing more money.
That's why gambling exists, for the house to win.
Yeah, I learned that. I stopped. I cut gambling out. I don't gamble. No, I don't gamble.
What kind of drugs you use?
I don't use drugs. I only just got my marijuana, my medical card for my shoulders, my back pain.
So was this a regular thing you did, was use the Clark gas station to do your transactions? Because 3 out of 4 were at Clark, right? Or was one at the house? I can't remember. I lost track.
No, it was mostly up at Clark gas
So
station.
you just walk from the house over to Clark, do your
Yeah,
deal, and go home.
Yeah, if I probably was somewhere else.
Who was your supplier?
I didn't have a supplier.
Then where'd you get the drugs?
From friends on the street in Cleveland.
So you would buy a bunch from them and then sell it to whoever wanted to buy it from you?
not per se buy it from him. I probably would just ask him for it to help me out so I can get some extra money.
So the suppliers are giving their drugs away? That doesn't seem likely to me, or believable.
I mean, I was, though. I definitely.
There's a lot of generous drug dealers out there.
Now the story starts falling apart. First he says he sold to one guy, then maybe not, then 3 or 4 people, then suppliers were just handing him drugs for free? Bro really expected that to sound believable? Chuckle the judge gives that slow head tilt with the blank stare that says everything without saying a word. Every answer just digs the hole deeper. And wait until the judge starts reading through his criminal record. That's where things really unravel.
To me, probably. I don't know. I don't think so.
This isn't your first go-around with trafficking, right?
Possessions, no.
Trafficking?
Trafficking, no.
You never had a trafficking before?
Yeah, I had one, but...
In 2009, you had a trafficking in Cuyahoga.
It was a dime sack of weed when I first was like 18. I sold an undercover a bag of weed.
A number of misdemeanors until through 11, and you got an attempted burglary in 11 in Cuyahoga County.
Yeah, it was more of us receiving stolen property, but I copped out to it because my friend had passed away. So they told me if I go to CBCF, then they would expunge it, and I guess it never got expunged. But I completed the program, and they never expunged it.
What were the probation violations for when you were on probation for that?
Failure to report, I think.
Why did you fail to report?
I think it was more transportation.
Then a few more misdemeanors, 13, 14, and 15. Then a drug possession, F5, and 15 in Cuyahoga. What was that all about?
I think I probably got caught with some marijuana. I can't really remember.
You were put in a CBCF on that occasion and failed to complete it. What happened there?
At CBCF, no, I completed all my CBCF.
And that's not what that case was reporting out.
I don't know what that means. I completed my CBCF.
August 25th, 2018, probation violation for failure to complete CBCF. Probation terminated.
Yeah, I don't know what that is about because I completed it.
And after that, or actually in 15, you got a drug abuse, 17 drugs, misdemeanors.
Yeah, I completed that, so I don't know.
Weapons under disability here in 20 offense, put on probation in 23. Hanging around with Okema Seeley. For some reason, I let you off early. My mistake.
It wasn't your mistake. I did what I was supposed to do for you. I did.
Apparently, I wasn't very perceptive if you've been dealing drugs that whole time. But so you get off of probation, and you got your chance to start over again, and you're dealing drugs again. You've been sliding through for a long time. You didn't seem all too interested in this whole process when I sent you over to probation.
When?
May 8th.
And you sent me to probation on May 8th.
Uh-huh.
I did.
Mr. Clement, how interested was he in this process of completing this report?
This part feels like the judge opening an old scrapbook, except every page is another arrest. Prior trafficking, probation violations, burglary, more drug cases, second chances after second chances. And every time the defendant says, "I don't remember," the judge's expression gets even colder. I mean, that's not exactly helping your case. Then the judge calls over probation for one simple question, and that answer changes the entire vibe in the room.
There are certain sections he did indulge in paragraph, explain what was going on. I asked a couple times in regards to what happened with the scenario, with the dealing charges, trafficking charges, And what I got from him was I was caught stealing drugs. That went to elaborate on the case. I asked him if he had told the story, how he ended up discharged, how he ended up here. That was the response that I got. And then in regards to drug and alcohol piece, I asked him if he had any drug and alcohol any use, including marijuana, and he reported not to.
I did. I said I have my marijuana card. I don't have no. I didn't.
Why don't you use other drugs?
I just don't use drugs.
I know, but why?
OHHH, probation just exposed him. Turns out he wasn't exactly open during the interview. Then the judge asks the simplest question ever. Why don't you use drugs? Sounds harmless, right? Bro answers because he doesn't want to get addicted. Wait, look at the judge's face. That tiny pause, that stare. You know he just found the biggest contradiction of the entire hearing. And what comes next is an absolute courtroom masterclass.
I mean, because I feel like you can get addicted to it.
Right, so you don't have a problem getting other people addicted to it. You just don't want it because you know it's a negative, but you don't have any problem selling fentanyl to other people, right? Or cocaine or whatever else is in it. I'm sure that you verify whenever you got cocaine, were given cocaine from suppliers, that there was nothing other than cocaine in it, right?
Yes.
No. How would you verify that? You have some lab in your basement that you were testing this stuff?
No.
You're peddling whatever you're peddling, you have no idea what it is, and some of it's fentanyl.
Right.
And you know that you're hooking people, but you don't care about that. You just want to make a little bit of money, and you were, by your own admission, just a little bit of money, not a lot of money.
Right. I feel bad about it though.
Well, you should feel bad about it. Anything else you want to tell me?
I'm kind of nervous, man, because I ain't got none support here today, so.
Well, where's your support?
That's about it. They was gonna come here, but our court date got pushed up to today. My court date was tomorrow, so my grandmother, my kids, and my girl wasn't able to show up today. Well, I couldn't contact them because the phone was off early in the morning. But they was gonna be here tomorrow, and I was gonna show you how I was taking care of my daughter in boxing classes. Show you some of the videos that she was doing. You was gonna be able to meet my twins.
What, your twins are 18, right?
19.
19. You got a problem if somebody's out there dealing drugs to your fentanyl or cocaine to your twins?
Absolutely.
Why? Why can you do it and somebody else can't do it?
I mean, because I wouldn't want my kids to be hooked on drugs either.
Okay, why do you have no problem hooking other people on drugs then? Those are somebody else's kids, right? Somebody else's father, brother.
I do have a problem with it.
Son.
I do have.
Why did you do it? You've been doing it for 10 years. And you've been doing even alone the 10-year thing, you've been doing pretty consistent for a year. Because they know where to find you. So you don't have a problem getting somebody else hooked on it. You don't want your kids hooked on it or you hooked on it. Because it's out of sight, out of mind. Here's your thing. Give me my money. On to the next thing, right?
Pretty much.
All right, have a seat, Mr. Knopf.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's recommending that the defendant serve a prison term. I know you went over his history before, but he does have 5 prior felonies. So the defendant has not responded favorably to previously imposed community control sanctions, though I will say he was terminated once successfully from probation. He has eluded prison for all those felonies. He does have multiple misdemeanor charges on top of those felonies. And I think it doesn't make it worse that the defendant does not even have a drug problem himself. He has been using the marijuana, but again, he's selling this to random members of our society. So I don't see anything that makes this less serious. There was an aggravating factor for being close to a school in one of the counts. So again, the state's recommending a prison term.
The prosecutor doesn't waste a second. 5 felonies, repeated chances, never been to prison, still right back selling drugs. That's not exactly the closing argument you want to hear. Then comes the reminder about selling near a school. The judge barely reacts, just sits there with that locked-in expression like the decision was already made before the speech even ended. And now, It's finally time for the sentence.
As I've spent some time here going through Mr. Barber's record, which goes back to the first trafficking offense in '09, and as Mr. Knopf indicated, a total of 5 felonies, and you've always been given the opportunity to get your act together, and you haven't taken advantage of it by virtue of the fact that you're here again for peddling cocaine, fentanyl, and who knows what else to other people. You tell me you don't do those kind of drugs because you don't want to get hooked, that you would take offense to people selling it to your 19-year-olds because you don't want them getting hooked, but you don't care if anybody else gets hooked because you're making money off it. So you are not amenable to community control. On count 1, I'm going to sentence you to 12 months in prison. Count 2, 16 months in prison. Count 3, 12 months in prison. Count 6, 17 months in prison. Your credit for 93 days served. Counts 2 and 6 will be consecutive to each other. Counts 1 and 3 will be concurrent to each other and concurrent to counts 2 and 6. So it's a total of 33 months with credit for 93 days. And the costs are assessed when you get out. You may be on post-release control for up to 2 years under the parole authority with consecutive services necessary to protect the public from future crime by you and to give you the appropriate punishment, and they are not disproportionate to the seriousness of your offenses and and the danger you pose to the public, and your history of criminal conduct demonstrates that consecutive sentences are necessary to protect the public from future crime by you. The remaining charges are dismissed. Anything subject to forfeiture is forfeited to the state. Anything else, Mr. Knopf?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Watson?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right.
Here it is, the moment everyone's been waiting for. The judge reminds him that chance after chance meant absolutely nothing because he kept coming back to the exact same choices. No raised voice, no dramatic yelling, just calm words that somehow hit even harder. Bro realizes this conversation is over. That's the difference between excuses and consequences. If courtroom moments like this keep you hooked, hit like, subscribe, and stick around because we've got plenty more cases where reality shows up right on time.